Hi, this is Polly from the fitmumformula.com here. Okay, so what is the paleo diet? How do you implement it? And importantly, do you even need it in the first place? Okay, well, one of the most common criticism I hear of the paleo diet is that it doesn't actually resemble what we ate in Paleolithic times. People would hunt for animals that don't exist today. They would eat plants that don't grow today. They would forage for things that we just don't eat in today's life. We have so many more different kind of species of things that we consume, and that's kind of missing the point, because with the paleo diet, nobody's actually said you need to eat like a Paleolithic man. No one's saying you have to go out and kill and hunt for your food. That's ridiculous in today's day and age. That's just completely unnecessary. What the paleo diet is it's resembling the types of foods, rather than the exact food, the types of foods that would have been consumed in the early age of man. Now, the other thing about what we actually ate in the early age of man is it vastly depended on where somebody was living. If they were near the coast, they would have eaten a lot of fish. If they were more inland, it possibly would have been a lot of things like grains. If you're in a woodland, it would have been things like berries, nuts, that kind of thing. And so it completely depended where in the world you were, the type of climate and that thing. So what the paleo diet in its modern sense means is that it encompasses all of those things, and it puts it into a format which is applicable for today. So today, the paleo diet means eating meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, lots of vegetables, salads, fruit, nuts, seeds, no dairy at all. Some people do a more relaxed version, have a little bit of dairy, especially things like butter, which are mostly fat and only have a tiny bit of the actual dairy proteins in them. No grains at all. Again, some people are slightly more relaxed and they might have maybe the occasional few bit of oats or pseudo grains like quinoa. And no processed foods or processed sugars at all. Now, a lot of paleo people will eat more natural dry sugars, things like honey and maple syrup. So there's it's not a scientific thing. It's not a fad either, isn't it? But there's no official definition of what you can and can't do. It's just there's degrees of how strict you want to be on it. Okay, so that's the kind of foods that you're allowed on. Now, how does this apply to everyday life? Well, it's not as hard as you think if you wanted to do it. A lot of foods that you already consume are naturally paleo. For example, we've got a friend here helping. For example, a roast dinner. Now, as long as you're not using a processed kind of gravy with flour in it, then a roast dinner is essentially meat, potatoes, and vegetables. Lots of people some people question whether white potatoes are paleo or not. I personally think, well, if sweet potatoes are allowed on a paleo diet, then what's the difference between white potatoes and sweet potatoes? They still grow in the ground. They're not a processed grain or anything. So that's my personal view. But each their own. As I said, there's different degrees to what you can take it. So a roast dinner is meat and potatoes and vegetables. That's paleo, right? Spaghetti bolognese, if you took the spaghetti bit away, is paleo. Yeah, it depends on things like the stock cubes you're using as well. But a basic bolognese of tomatoes and peppers and herbs and ground beef is paleo. So you could put that on top of some courgette. That's a spiralized courgette turned into look like spaghetti. Or you could put it on top of a sweet potato. Or, what about a frittata? A salmon and spinach frittata with eggs, with a salad or vegetables on the side. That's naturally paleo, but it's also a perfectly normal, easy, healthy meal. So turning a paleo diet into everyday meals is a lot easier than you think. And even at breakfast time, things like nut butters are paleo. There's all sorts of things that you can have. I don't want to list every single food and meal because the possibilities really are endless. If you look at, rather than seeing what you're restricted by, look at the possibilities and get a little bit creative. The third and probably the most important point is, should you even do it in the first place? Well, this is the thing, but it's the difference between calorie amount, calorie quantity, and food quality. Now, people will argue what's more important. Some people say only calories matter, and some people will say calories don't matter so long as you eat the right sorts of foods. Now, the answer is both. Okay, both matter. To lose weight, you have to eat a calorie deficit. Calories matter. To gain weight, if you wanted to pack on muscle, for example, you have to eat more calories. Calories matter. For optimal health, you need to be eating nutrient-dense, nutritious foods that are full of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, all those good things that are going to fuel your body and make you feel really good and make your brain function well, all those good fats, things like that. So food quality matters if you want to feel your best. Is that same as saying you need to follow a paleo diet? Well, look at the foods that are in the paleo diet. They are extremely nutritious foods. And if you were to follow a paleo diet, even really, really strictly, you will be eating a very, very nutritious diet. I'll give you that. Is that necessary to go that extreme? I'm not convinced it is, because all the foods that are not allowed on the paleo diet also have some benefits. For example, on a strict paleo diet, and more relaxed users might eat them, are beans and legumes. Now, beans are very high in fibre. They have a type of starch called resistant starch, which is really good at keeping you full, so excellent for people on a weight loss diet. If you're better off having things like chickpea mash than mashed potato, for example, and a bean salad rather than a rice salad if you struggle with hunger and you're trying to lose weight, because beans and legumes are so filling. Fibre is great for digestion and general digestive health. Beans, the fibres in them, they actually feed the good bacteria. So I know eating good bacteria, taking probiotic things is very popular these days for good reason, but they're not going to stay alive unless those bacteria themselves have their own food, and beans and legumes are a great food for bacteria. Oats are great for the heart. They've got lots of fibre in them as well, good for digestion, loads of nutrition. So, you know, if you were to follow a paleo diet, it's a very nutritious diet, but there's also lots of benefits to non-paleo foods. You know, dairy, if you can tolerate dairy, and I appreciate not everybody can tolerate dairy, there's a lot of good stuff in dairy. There's vitamins A, D, you know, there's calcium in things like Greek yogurt, there's protein, there's fats, and no saturated fats are not really bad for you. So there's benefits to those foods as well. And I think a really, really healthy, nutritious diet will primarily probably be made up a lot of foods that are just by coincidence paleo, because they're nutritious foods and we should be eating them. We should eat broccoli, spinach, vegetables, nuts, as long as you don't have a nut allergy, obviously. Meat, fish, salmon, oily fish, all this kind of stuff. We should be eating those, and they're paleo foods. But that's not to say that other foods that aren't paleo are really, really bad for you. Some of them are. Some junk foods, sweets, chocolates, junk food, chocolate bars, all that kind of stuff, cakes, processed junk. Yes, it's bad for you, and no, it's not paleo. But a lot of things that aren't paleo are still really nutritious. So that's the lowdown on the paleo diet. It's up to you to make your own decision. Now, I would love to hear your feedback. Have you tried a paleo diet before? Have you tried paleo recipes? Do you know anybody who's gone on a paleo diet? And how did it work for you, importantly? How did you feel? How were your energy levels? How was your digestion, your skin? Did you lose weight or gain weight, depending on your goals? How did it work for you? At the end of the day, that's the most important thing. If it worked for you, awesome. If it's not working for you, or it just doesn't work for your lifestyle, then maybe it's not the right thing for you. But I'd love to hear what you think. Okay, thank you very much. That's Polly from thefitmomformula.com.